Good evening and welcome to this European Athletics live stream. As we have for the last couple of years here at European Athletics, we're trying to stream as much athletics as possible from across the continent to give everyone an opportunity to keep up with the athletes and to give some of these meets across Europe that do such a fantastic job a slightly larger platform so we can get these images and these events to even more viewers. We're looking at Jaime Guarez here of Spain as having his attempt in the long jump. The long jump's been underway for a while here this evening here in Valencia. And there is Jaime Guerra doing well here in front of the home crowd, just getting up towards 80 metres. But we have 8 metres, not 80 metres. We have got around about 2.5 hours of action here for you today. Starting off with the women's semi-finals. They're just there ready to get their competition underway. But throughout the evening, we're going to have a few national races as we move through some of the qualification rounds for some of the finals later on. Very competitive men's 800 metres coming up with Pablo Sanchez Valadares versus Simon Ballantini and Matthias Bukowski. And women's 3,000 metres features some African interest with Alice Chemtai, who just ran 30.38 to place 10th at the 10K here in Valencia. And that Marathon Valencia team is actually sponsoring this event this year. So they're bringing some of their road expertise into the indoor arena. You can see their advertising there on the outside. We've got a lot of domestic Spanish stars on show tonight. Men's 1,500 metres coming up at 9:15 local time. Adrian Ben, Mariano Garcia. And they'll face the Spanish #1 this season, Carlos Sainz. We'll have a competitive women's 800 and the men's 60-metre hurdles final, which, if everything goes to plan, should feature Enrique Llopis, the 4th place finisher from Tokyo last year. But this is the opening heat of the women's 60 metres. Cortiles in 1, Kolpinska in 2, Gio in 3, Killebrew in 4, Martinez in 5, Martinez in 6 as well, Montalban in 7 and Cruz in 8. See a few empty lanes there. Kopinska, I think the Polish athlete on her own, but it's a runaway win here for Samira Killebrew in the opening heat of this women's 60 metres. The American, 7:16 to her name, multiple-time NCAA finalist. And I do think this is her first competition out of North America. She's competed in Canada and, of course, in the United States where she's from. But I think this could be a maiden trip to Europe for Killebrew. Oh, that's a decent start. Look back at the replay, you can see there there's Samira Killebrew getting a fantastic start. Everyone else behind her at the moment. Strong finish from Montalban of Spain on the outside. We'll try and keep you up to date with the results as they come in. But that was the first of 2 heats, and their final will come up a little bit later on. And we're just getting into the closing stages of the long jump. So we've got 4 men, 4 women, and they're all taking it in turns to jump down here in the arena. The final jump for Evelyn Yankee. She's in 2nd place at the moment. Just 1 valid jump though, 6:24 for Yankee. That looks a bit better. There's a personal best set here 2 weeks ago of 6:51. So Yankee on 6:24 at the moment. Love to match that form she found the other day. Have a look back at the replay of Evelyn Yankee. She's chasing the lead of Marte Kuala, who's on 6:39 at the moment. So it's an improvement for Yankee in distance. She goes up to 6:30, but that doesn't change her placing overall. Lena Mitkova jumping next. .595, her best jump in the 2nd round. So the lead still with Marte Kuala, Burkina Faso in the women's long jump as we go towards the 2nd heat of the women's 60 metres. And there's the full start list up on your screen. Ayel Bestui, carrying the Spanish hopes here, goes in lane 5. 7:18 in the CMCM meeting in Luxembourg that was televised, was streamed by European Athletics just a couple of weeks ago. She equalled her personal best there, Bestui. Semi-finalist at the World Championships in Tokyo last year, 5th in the 4x1 with the Spanish quartet. There she is, right in the middle. And here in this indoor season in 2026, we have got World Indoor Championships. They're still some 6 or 7 weeks away. The Spanish National Championships is still another 4 weeks away. That will be here in this arena at the start of March. So for many of the Spanish athletes to have a World Athletics bronze level indoor tour meeting in their country is a wonderful opportunity just to kind of have a bit of competition experience and just get their eye in as they look towards that indoor season. Someone like Ayel Bestui, I think, probably would target those World Indoor Championships coming up in Toronto. And this heat, she's got Vargas of Venezuela in 1, Castillo of Spain, Gonzalez of Spain, Perica, also of Venezuela, in 4, and Bestui is in lane 5. Mont of Chile goes in lane 6, Potnik of the Slovak Republic in 7, and Navarro of Spain in lane 8. So already seen a marker from Samira Kidabru, the American, taking the first heat in 7:37. Sluggish start perhaps from Bestui here in the second heat. Perica going well in the middle. Bestui finding something in the last 20 metres, takes the win, 7:30, so she will have the fastest time from qualification, bettering the mark of the American set just a few moments ago. But there is Bestui. Perica, pretty pleased with that as well. Closing stages of the men's long jump. Cáceres of Spain, a former decathlete, long jumper. He's had lots of 4th places over the years, including in the Tokyo Olympic Games. It's really interesting to have the men and the women jumping at the same time. Give the spectators a bit of a change from those distances, see who's jumping furthest. There's Cáceres' last attempt. It was on a best of 7:66 in the first round. Still Jaime Guerra in the lead, 7:95. Gerson Bolde, a couple of 7:88s for the Portuguese athlete. He's in second place at the moment. Cáceres, 7:38 for his final jump there. So his best remains 7:66. And the analysis goes on.
Bueno, Evelyn, ¿qué tal? Segunda en esta longitud, con 6:30 al final. Hemos tenido algunos problemas con los nulos, ¿no?
Sí, hemos tenido algunos problemas con los nulos, pero estoy contenta. Ay. ¿Empezamos otra vez?
Bueno, dale.
Bueno, que sí que he tenido problemas con los nulos, pero que bastante bien, o sea, me he encontrado bastante mejor que otras competiciones. Y nada, es pillarlo, o sea, llevo 3 longis que cuesta y me quedo con los 2 primeros que han sido bastante buenos y ya está, estoy contenta, pero no satisfecha claramente porque puedo saltar muchísimo más. Así que bueno, a la siguiente será y ya está.
So we will be having some interviews with some of the athletes throughout the stream. We are streaming this event. It's being streamed by the local organisers as well. So there is Spanish commentary in Spain. And great to get these Spanish interviews. I will try and stay quiet over them in case any of you do understand what's being said and do want the insight from the athletes. But it's our first interview out here on the stream. It's wonderful when these meets try and bring us these live reactions from the athletes.
Vale, ya lo saben.
So the hurdle's just being set out here for the next event, which will be the 60-metre hurdle heats. They'll take place on the infield there. We have got a women's 1500 metres, a national 1500 that's going to go on round the outside, but we're just going to complete this men's long jump first. Jaime Guerra with the final jump. Miles over 7 metres. And that. 7.95. Really good effort in the third round for Guerra. It's a bit frustrated, perhaps knows he's close to something a bit better. A good win for Guerra. He was 5th in Appledorn last year at the European Indoor Championships, made the final in Tokyo. He's building, and to take a win over Gerson Balde today won't do his confidence any harm. You can see 7.95, his best jump. He takes the win. Gerson Balde of Portugal. I think it's got the Puerto Rican flag there on the graphic, but pretty sure he's still from Portugal. 7.88 in second place. We haven't had much of a look at Balde yet. But great to have two athletes so far over 8 metres in their career in the last couple of years match up here in this competition. To bring you up to date with the results of the women's 60-metre heats, in case you're waiting on those, Samira Kidabru won the first heat. She'll be joined by Laura Martinez and Adriana Montalban as automatic qualifiers for the final. Just before we turn our attention to this women's 1500, the second heat was won by Jalba Stewie in 7.29. She'll be joined by Andrea Perica, Maria Ignacia, and Lucia Potnik. I think it was another one of the Venezuelan athletes who might have qualified there as well. Just a glitch on the computer, but that 60-metre final will be coming up later on. It's a national level 1500 here. It's being paced 250 through the K. We've got a couple of pacemakers here. A lot of women in this field capable of sub 4:15. And they've done that in the last few weeks. A real mix of youngsters and a bit of experience as well. See 2 pacers on the inside. Laura Rivera, Sandra Oliva. And Mara Rolli, an interesting athlete there in the green vest. She's 18 years old. She had set a world under-20 lead in December. That's been bettered by some of the athletes that ran at the New Balance Grand Prix last week in Boston. She's a very talented youngster, Rolli. You see the aggression off the start line there from Rolli. Perhaps some intent here from the 18-year-old. And the national under-20 record indoors for Spain is 4:16, so I do wonder if that could be a bit of a target here for Rolli. Great awareness here from the pacemaker, just taking a look over her shoulder. Seconds through the first 300 metres, plays out nicely to around about 4:15. I do wonder if that national under-20 record is a bit of a target for Mara Rolli. That's the first 400 metres completed in 68, so it's aggressive, but it's not suicidal by any stretch of the imagination. Great even laps here from Rivera so far. Carla Massip perhaps in second place there in the pale strip. And a 10k PB on the roads, as I'm sure so many Spanish athletes did a couple of weeks ago here in this city. Road events, so important here in Valencia. And don't forget, the European Indoor Championships are coming to this very arena in 2027. There's no European Indoor Championships this year. We take a back seat, we do those World Indoor Championships, and then next year, back to business as usual. We still had both the European and the World Indoors in 2025. That that condensed season with the COVID delays. Here we go. That's 600 metres past. Roddy still looking good. Second place, Carla Massip is a 4:10 runner at her best. Set back in 2023, so not too long ago. Another 68-second lap here. 2:16 through 800 metres. So Rolly from Massip. Elena Martin ran 4:14, her personal best last year on the track. She's poised there, the taller figure in the dark blue, just behind Massip. A lot of pressure here for Mara Rolly, the 18-year-old. It's very much like Carla Massip is biding her time. Elena Martin looking good there on the outside. There are 4 of them away now. There'll be 2 laps to go now at the front of this field. They passed through at 3:08. So a 70-second lap on the end of that. That would give them 4:18, which would still be a lifetime best for Rolly. A good season's best for the rest of them. If they want to get back on terms with the national under-20 record, they're going to need a 68 400 metres. Definitely possible. Mara Rolly still leads the way from Carla Massip. And they take the belt about 3:43. So they're going to need to absolutely turn on the afterburners here if they're going to trouble that under 20 national record. But it's been a brave run here for Mara Rolly. The 18-year-old now, for the first time, has some company, has some pressure. And I think that's Elena Martin. Gone into the lead. She's taken Carla Massip with her. Massip's been in second place pretty much all of this race. It's going to be a battle down the home straight. Elena Martin looking right, looking left. And she's going to hold on just across the line to take the win in 4:17. Raquel Echeverria, perhaps the athlete, breakaway in that top 4. We have an interview with Jaime Guerra, the winner of the men's long
Ha sido un
jump.
milagro que haya saltado tanto porque estaba haciendo una carrera desastrosa, ¿eh? Pero estoy teniendo muchos problemas con la carrera porque, no sé, es como que corro mucho, luego no corro nada, pero bueno, aún así 7.95 he mejorado marca de lo que venía de temporada, así que contento.
Estamos ahí metidos ahora, creo que, bueno, habrá que verlo al final del fin de semana, pero dentro de la cuota esta de 8 metros no estarías en el Mundial. ¿Dónde vas a competir ahora? ¿Qué tienes así a la vista?
Pues ahora mismo la verdad es que no tengo claro cuál va a ser la siguiente, porque estoy en lista de espera para un meeting, pero bueno, mi intención es competir dentro de 2 semanas otra vez y luego ya el de España.
Bueno, pues nada, corregir esos errores que has dicho que has tenido hoy y ya soñar con esos 8 metros, o igual los 8.17 ya haces marca personal y mínima directa.
Esto de la longitud no se sabe, un día hace 7.90 y otro día hace 8.20 y otro día...
Esperar que el siguiente sea el de 8.20.
Gracias.
Que vaya bien, Jaime.
That was the winner of the men's long jump, Jaime Guerra, giving his reflections in the arena here. Just to update you the results of that women's 1500 metres. Elena Martin did get the win, 4:17.2. Carla Massip second, 4:17.5. Mara Rolly was the athlete that led for so long, the 18-year-old. She finished up with 4:19, which I think is an indoor personal best for her. Raquel Echeverria, good 4th place at 4:19 as well. Next up, we've got 2 finals of the women's 60-metre hurdles. So there isn't a qualification to the next round. This is just it for these women, and they've been seeded into 2 separate races. I'm going to start off with Final B. And there's a start list on your screens. We are missing a few athletes. You can see an empty lane 1, empty lane 7 and lane 8. So lane 2 will be Sara Cabo Benedicto, called her personal best 8:88 here a few weeks ago. Elsa Badal, 19-year-old, takes lane 3. Ines Pascual, lane 4. Opened her season up with a win here last week. Marina Lamata goes in lane 5. Emma Jimenez, 18-year-old, her personal best over 60 and 60 hurdles this season, goes in lane 6.
Rolly, que no ha sido
Here from the
la
18-year-old
ganadora
third placer,
de los
Mara
1500
Rolly,
metros, pero que te has echado la carrera a las espaldas y hay que darte la enhorabuena por ello. Has peleado por el récord de España, se nos ha escapado al final, pero bueno, supongo que muy contenta, ¿no, Mara?
Sí, la verdad que súper contenta. La verdad, bueno, pues el objetivo era el récord de España y queríamos pasar a ritmo de 2.50 más o menos, aunque sabíamos que a lo mejor era un poco fuerte. Y la verdad que el último 4 se me ha hecho bola completamente. O sea, pero bueno, muy contenta.
Venías del Mundial de Cross, de hecho que, bueno, allí se te atascó un poco quizá la carrera, ¿no?
Sí.
Y hoy sí que has demostrado que estás en muy buen momento de forma. Pelear por un récord de España no es cosa sencilla y tú lo has hecho.
Sí, la verdad que allí en Estados Unidos me puse bastante mala, que no sé, el cambio de comida, tal, no sé qué. Pero bueno, estaba un poco jodida también por exámenes y tal. Pero bueno, el martes me metí un buen entrene y iba un poco confiada, bastante. Y pensaba que podíamos conseguirlo, pero bueno, a la próxima. Voy a seguir intentándolo.
Va a haber más carreras, seguro que te llega cuando menos te lo esperas. ¿Dónde es la próxima?
Pues la próxima tengo el Campeonato de Europa de Clubes, semana que viene de campo otra vez. Y a la próxima pues ya veremos. No sé, a lo mejor me toca irme fuera a Italia, que es mi segundo país. Y no sé, quién sabe.
Muy bien, pues nada, enhorabuena Mara y te seguiremos de cerca durante este invierno.
Gracias.
And in case you're just joining us here at the European Athletics stream, we're covering the Gran Premio Internacional de Atletismo Valencia. And it's here in the Luis Porch Velodrome. This arena will host the European Indoor Championships in 2027, which is very exciting. Spain have got a wonderful history in athletics. And indoor athletics, it's so often drawn over to Madrid, where they have the World Indoor Tour, often the World Indoor Tour final on the gold level meetings. And they've got many great arenas and a great history. So to see them awarded that European Indoor Championships is just fantastic. This arena actually had the 2008 World Athletics Indoor Championships. So it's got some pretty stiff kind of arena records. Ashia Hansen set the world record here once upon a time in the triple jump. We have got a women's triple jump coming up a little bit later on. Just showing you some of the pictures from a domestic pole vault that's going on. I've got probably half an hour or so here in the programme. It's going to be a little bit domestic, 2 60-metre hurdle races for the women, a final B and then a final A. And then we're going to have 2 semi-finals for an international men's 60-metre hurdles, featuring Enrique Llopis and some other athletes. But here we go with the B final in the 60-metre hurdles for women. And a strong start from Elsa Badal, the 19-year-old, skipping over the hurdles. Under pressure now from Pascual. Pascual in the middle, just taking it on the lean there. Won last season, continues that streak here. She came under pressure from Emma Jimenez in the closing stages, the 18-year-old. A couple of teenagers here, but Ines Pascual, in the end, awarded with the win in 8:50. Bar up around 440 or so in this women's pole vault at the moment. Monica Clement has the lead at the moment. Miara Perez, Galindo, Clara Fernandez. So that's how the women's pole vault is going. Just nearing towards the end there, I think, for those women as they get up towards their limits. And looking here at the qualification to the final of the women's 60-metre hurdles, Samira Killebrew won the first heat, 7:37 from Laura Martinez, 7:47. Ariadna Montalban 7:48, so just the 3 qualifiers from there. The time qualifiers came from this semi-final. The second one was won by the local athlete, Gerald Bestui, 7:29. 7:38 for Ulrica Guevara Vargas. Tiaga makes 2 Venezuelans through to the next round. And Chilean Mont will join them on time, 7:44, as will Lucia Potnik, the athlete from the Republic of Slovakia, completing the 8-person lineup for the women's 60-metre final. We've still got an hour or so until that. I'll have some recovery. It's one of the domestic 3,000 metres that took place before we came on air. A women's 3,000 metres tonight and a men's in the international programme, but that was a domestic 3,000 metres that took place earlier on. A full day of athletics here in Valencia for this event. And here at European Athletics, we're just picking up the last couple of hours or so of the international programme. I was about to say we got an empty lane 3, but we have got a Claudia Villante just strolling back there. There's the results of Final B that just happened. Inés Pascual taking the win, 8:48. Emma Jimenez in second, Elsa Badal in third, Marina Lemata in fourth. So 8:48, that's the standard that's been set by Final B. So full lineup here in Final A of the women's 60-metre hurdles. As we take another look back there, that was the semi-final of the women's 60 metres. But this Final A is also a memorial Emilio Ponce. And the athletes just strutting around alongside their blocks are Lucia Pereira in 1, Carmen Sanchez in 2, Claudia Villante in 3, Paula Blanquer will go in lane 4. So you just reflect on the results of the men's long jump. Jaime Guerra take the win over Gerson Balde of Portugal. Marte Koala at 6:39 gave her the win on the women's side. Clement goes for a second attempt at 4:50. And she's come into this event with a season's best of 4:40, so she's already matched that. Right, time to focus on this women's 60-metre hurdles, Final A. I mentioned Pereira goes in 1, Sanchez goes into Villante, under 23 finalists at European level. Blanquer, 5th at those European under 23s a couple of years ago, goes in 4, Paget in 5, another finalist from that European under 23 level. Laura Banco of Hungary goes in lane 6, World University Games finalist last year. Marina Covarrubias goes in 7. She ran a personal best 8:22 last week. And Sade Tomaya Serrano completes the lineup in lane 8. So this is Final A. 8:48, the winning time for Inés Pascual in Final B. So perhaps Pascual will be sitting by the side waiting to see how her 8:48 stacks up against this A final. Oh, a recall there. Blanquer got an absolute flyer, perhaps too good. couldn't hear a recall gun there very clearly. The athletes certainly did, and that's the most important thing. Not sure whether we'll get a replay of that start. Let's have a look back. Oh yeah, it was too good a start from Paula Blanquer, if we're honest. So to the naked eye there, clearly lane 4 rising first. Whether there was a twitch either side perhaps from Villalante or Paget. Bit of a smile from the officials. I feel like that might mean they're going to give them a green card. Green card all round. That's good news. Paula Blanquer. Maybe lucky, like I say, it's hard to tell whether there's some shuffles either side. You can't always blame what you see to the naked eye. But all 8 athletes stay in for this final. Pereira in 1, Sanchez in 2, Villalante in 3, Blanquer in 4, Paget in 5, Banco in 6, Covarrubias in 7 and Serrano in 8. And for the second time, the officials invite the women's 60-metre hurdles final A into the blocks. As a reminder, this is the Memorial Emilio Ponce, a race named for someone particularly. It's always nice to recognise that. And they're away safely this time. Another good start from Paula Blanquer in the middle of the field. Blanquer at the moment, Paget trying to challenge her, but Sanchez going well. Villalante, apologies, it's Villalante in lane 3 up alongside Blanquer. That was a great second half of the race in Villalante, 8:16. Look back at the replay here. I think Villalante left in the blocks. Blanquer, great start, and Paget very consistent, but it was just those final couple of flights for Claudia Villalante were phenomenal. She did beat a lot of these women in Sabadell last week. So she's bringing good form into this, but those final 2 hurdles, perfection, great momentum carried across the line. So Villalante takes the win. Season's best of Villalante. Her lifetime best is 8:12. That's a great run for her as we're looking at what could possibly be the last jump here in the women's pole vault. Monica Clement, third and final try at 4 meters 50. Not to be today for Clement, but it is a win in the women's pole vault. Of everyone else, you can see Perez in second place with the best jump of 4 meters 10, and Fernandez in third with the best of 3.95. And here we're going to hear from the winner of that 60-metre hurdles final A, Claudia Villalante.
Claudia Villalante, enhorabuena. 8:15, es tu segunda mejor marca de siempre en el 60 vallas. Lo has celebrado mucho, ¿no?
Sí, me ha hecho mucha ilusión porque he empezado muy bien la temporada, creo que va todo en progresión y tenía muchas ganas de correr ya en una marca menor a 8:20, por debajo de 8:20. Entonces la he visto y entonces ha sido como, estoy ahí, ¿sabes? Y creo que puedo más, tengo que salir bien, creo que puedo más.
Pues nada, mejora la salida. ¿Cuál es la la siguiente competición que tienes por
El meeting de Madrid. La semana que viene tenemos el
Ahí
meeting
se
de Madrid.
vuela,
Buah, a mí me apetece mucho competir contra las grandes, porque son personas que tú ves en la tele.
Claro.
Y claro, por ejemplo, mis aitas son súper fans. Entonces, como hazte una foto con todas, y digo, voy a correr contra esta gente. Entonces tengo ganas de
Nada, pues nosotros también tenemos muchas ganas de verte allí. Te vemos la semana que viene en Madrid. Enhorabuena, disfrutar esta victoria y a mejorar esas cosillas para el sábado que viene.
Vale, muchas gracias, nos vemos en Madrid.
Que te vaya bien.
Jill's final A. She's talking about coming back here in 4 weeks' time for the Spanish Championships. Will take place in this arena. There she is, 8:15. It's been given, so it is the season's best for her. Not that far off her lifetime best at 8:12. Paula Blanquer in second. Renata Page in third. And Marina Covarrubias takes fourth. Shade Toumé in fifth. The hurdles are going up, and that's because it's time for the men's 60-metre hurdles. In lane 4, we should have Enrique Llopis. If you look all the way down the screens there, still in his blocks, in the middle of your screens, there's a Spanish great that's doing his run-throughs. There he goes. Looking ominous as we just take in the results of that women's pole vault as well, confirming Clement with her 4:40 and her win. Here's our first look out onto Luis Porch Velodrome here in Valencia, a site that hosted the World Athletics Indoor Championships back in 2008 and will host the European Indoor Championships in 2027. And for the Spanish athletes, what an opportunity that would be. See the likes of Enrique Llopis push through to Birmingham next year, those European Athletics Outdoor Championships, and maybe we'll get another year out of him. We go to the indoors. Spain are hosting it. Llopis has been such a big figure in European hurdling and globally as well. You can see that lifetime best 7:48. There's actually an equal Spanish record with Orlando Ortega. Llopis every season he's just desperate to claim that national record for his own. Silver for Llopis at the European Championships a few years ago, fourth at the Paris Olympic Games and in Tokyo in the World Championships. Some of you might remember a pretty bad fall in Istanbul at the European Indoor Championships a few years ago as well for Llopis. Pretty much had every experience that this sport has to offer you. Llopis is having a decent season. A Spaniard, he's already raced a few times. He's just going to start building momentum into the season proper, if you like. We have got the World Indoor Tour gold level meetings going on throughout the year. And then those World Athletics Indoor Championships in Torun in Poland. 20th to the 22nd of March. They're quite late, the World Indoor Championships. Is their normal place in the calendar, and of course we have had the rejig this year with those World Cross Country Championships already taking place in January. Perhaps there's a nod to letting everyone recover from the Cross Country Championships and still be available for the Indoor Championships. But globally, of course, it's been classed as a bit of a down year this year with no global championships, just the first edition of the World Ultimate Championships in Budapest in mid-September. So it's a long time to go for that. So the World Athletics and their calendar, perfectly logical to have those World Indoor Championships towards the end of March. For our European athletes, they've still got a fair amount of time until those European Championships towards the start of August, taking place in Birmingham. Llopis just been introduced to the crowd. We've already seen a good run from Jael Bestui in the women's 60 metres. She was the fastest qualifier through to the final, the Spaniard, and it was another win for Spain with Jaime Guerra in the men's long jump. So the locals having a good time so far. His full lineup: Javier Garcia in 1, Christos Panayotis Romtios of Greece in 2, Nicoli Giacalone of Italy in 3, Enrique Llopis of Spain in 4, Kevin Sanchez of Spain in 5, Nicolas Morares of Spain goes in 6, Edson Gomez of Portugal in 7, and Ignacio de Esquiroz of Spain completes the lineup in lane 8. First heat of the men's 60-metre hurdles. Enrique Llopis does not look like he's having a warm-up here. Enrique Llopis charging through this heat, eases off in the final stages there. 7:56 for Enrique Llopis. On the circuit, these athletes so often have to run 2 rounds in one night, and Llopis using the opportunity here, I think, to do it seriously, perhaps at the level he might need to bring if he was at a World Indoor Tour Gold meeting. This meeting here in Valencia is a bronze. Llopis giving absolutely nothing away. Let's have a look back at the replay. You can see him in the middle of the screen. Red Adidas strip, yellow shoes. Snaps over that first hurdle. And they're all left behind him. Behind him, Edson Gomez was going all right. Just in the closing stages there. I think it was the Greek athlete, Msios, going well from lane 2. Llopis just drifting towards the outside of his lane there. And it is his training partner over there to his right-hand side, Kevin Sanchez. Might forgive him. So it'll be first 3 across the line automatically qualified for the final in the men's 60-metre hurdles. That's the closing event here this evening. And then we'll collect another 2 athletes on time to give us 8 people for the final. And Llopis, 7:56. I think that could be the fastest qualifier we're going to see, but we'd expect that from the multiple global finalist. There's a confirmed result of that first semi-final. Llopis 7:55, Romtios 7:88, Giacalone 7:97, Garcia 7:99, and Sanchez 8:01. Now I have to wait and see if that's fast enough to get through. So Garcia and Sanchez in 7:99 and 8:01. Again, I have that nervous wait. The other athletes know they're into the final. It takes place at 9:31 local time. It's an hour and a half for these athletes to recover. There's a look at the second heat, the second semi-final. Mario Perez in there in lane 1. Season's best of 8:20 here the other day. Daniel Castilla, he trains with Llopis as well. We already saw Kevin Sanchez, one of the training partners of the joint national indoor record holder. Let's see how Castilla stacks up in this second heat. Larinaga of Portugal, former decathlete, made a semi-final at the World Indoor Championships last year. Sirodsky took a silver at the European Under-23 Championships a few years ago, behind Jason Joseph. That gives you a mark of the quality of the champions when we go through those age group championships. And Sirodsky of Poland, a good silver medalist at that level. Mario Revenga of Spain, having his season opener in lane 5. Victor Odunya was on 8:20 as well for his season's best. Bill Salas of Spain here as well. And Daniel Cisneros should be out in lane 8 in his season opener. There's so many races available to these Spanish athletes. It started in December. A lot of the athletes we're going to see over the next hour and a half have already been racing since December. Not too much field action here in Valencia, certainly not towards the end of the programme. We have had a long jump. It's concluded with wins from Marte Kuala and Jaime Guerra. There's a pole vault as well, women's pole vault took place. But we have still got a triple jump. We'll have 4 men and 4 women taking part in the triple jump. They're going to alternate man and woman, and they get underway in 15 minutes. But apart from that, it is all track action. Quite polarised as well. It's either 60 metres or 800 and up in this international section of the programme. So second semi-final of the men's 60-metre hurdles coming up, and then we'll look towards domestic 3,000 metres, some more domestic hurdling, and international men's 800 metres, that's coming up in not too long. Around about 8 p.m. local time. The men's 1,500 metres could be one of the best races we've got on show here this evening. That's 75 minutes away. Adrian Ben versus Mariano Garcia. And Carlos Sainz as well. There's a few empty lanes here as we look at the second heat. They've been down there for some time. It's Mario Perez in lane 1. No sign perhaps of Castillo Larinaga. Sierotsky should be in lane 4 for Poland. Ravenga in 5, Dunya in 6. Perhaps no Salas in 8 for Spain. Daniel Cisneros looks like he's there in lane 8. So very full field in the first heat. Could be good news for the time qualifiers. Kevin Sanchez and Javier Garcia waiting to see if their 7:99.801 will be enough. So I think we have got a gap there from Mario Perez to Mikhail Sierotsky, by my reckoning. And then Ravenga, Adunya and Cisneros. Just 5 men in the second heat of the men's 60-metre hurdles. First 3 qualify automatically for this evening's final, and then we'll go down to time. Strong start from Adunya of Spain. Adunya just fading ever so slightly here, and it's Cisneros on the outside, the Spaniard having a great run from lane 8. 7:87 to take the win. 3/10 slower than Llopis in the first heat, but Enrique Llopis looked absolutely dialed in for that opening round. So good job there from Daniel Cisneros, considering he's on his own. He's isolated there in lane 8, stuck to his task very well. Probably more in the tank there for him. I think Sierotsky coming through for second place ahead of Ravenga. Stumble from Mario Perez over the line in lane 1. Let's look back at the result of the women's 1,500 metres. That was the second event we showed you here on the European Athletics stream. But Mara Roddy, the 18-year-old long-time leader, ending up in 3rd. Some great running for those athletes. Here's the result of that second semi-final we've just seen. Cisneros 7:84. Sierotsky does get second, 7:98. Ravenga 8 seconds exactly. So I do think that means the time qualifiers will be Kevin Sanchez and Javier Garcia, if I'm recalling correctly, from the first heat. Those DNSs, big DNSs there from Larinaga. This is Castilla and Salas. It's a shame those athletes weren't able to make the start line, but we have got the 8 athletes that will go through to that final, led by Enrique Llopis, who looked really, really good. Just a great reminder from the local camera people that the Marathon Valencia, the organisation that has just transformed road running really. The events they've put on have yielded so many national records, world records and the like. And they actually have decided to sponsor this event here. So re-inject some of that profit they've taken from the roads into indoor athletics, and that will help so many youngsters in the domestic scene and give a real spectacle to the fans here today as well. You can see some good youngsters up there towards the left-hand side of the screen, hopefully enjoying seeing some of the best Spanish athletes. Looked like they were threatening to introduce the triple jump athletes there. There we go, Sarah Ecosa of Spain coming out. She will be jumping in the triple jump. It's Maria Gonzalez, personal best outdoors of 13:37. So all these athletes warming up in the background of the hurdle races. Elda Romeva will go as well. European under-20 finalist, she's still 19. So apologies, I have the same name twice. Try again with the men. This could be Enrico Carrascal. If it is, he did a recent 60-metre PB. Tiago Pereira of Portugal also here today. Did a long jump personal best last week of 7:22. Enrico Montanari of Italy sees his best last week of 16 metres 30. Federico Lorenzo Bruni of Italy here to jump in this triple jump too. Under 23 bronze medal last year at the European level. A lifetime best of 16:31. So those men and women will alternate their jumping. We'll go man, woman throughout the next hour or so. We'll try and keep you up to date with that. It's going to take in this domestic 3,000 metres Memorial Tony Lastra, and an all Spanish affair. Vito Ruiz is pacing there, number 12, and perhaps Quillada Sanchez as well. I'll have to wait and see how the race unfolds, but there could be pacemakers, two pacemakers. I thought Quillada was actually a withdrawal. We'll wait and see. Here they are from the inside. Vives right on the inside, broke 8 minutes just 2 weeks ago. 8 minutes, very much the benchmark for 3,000 metres, particularly domestically. A lot of these athletes are very, very close to that. If you want to go under 8 minutes evenly, it's 64 seconds per 400 metres or 32 per lap. The pacers have been asked to go just slightly faster than that. 5:16 through 2 kilometres. So whether these athletes think they can push on to 7:54 or whether the organisers here are just trying to give them a bit of a buffer. Marta Garcia here, 5,000 metre national record holder for Spain. Just here spectating, not competing tonight, but sharing her thoughts perhaps on her next few races and how her training's going.
Hola, muy bien, feliz de estar aquí y feliz de estar con espectadora, que también es bonito disfrutar del atletismo desde el otro lado. Me pillaba un poco pronto en mi temporada después de mi paso por la ruta y demás, el meeting de Valencia, y arrancaré la pista cubierta un poco más tarde, pero bueno, me están dando envidia, ¿eh?
Aquí encima desde abajo se ve la cosa distinta, ¿eh? Que, bueno, te tienes que acostumbrar a este estadio, a esta pista, porque el año que viene tenemos europeo aquí, supongo que queda mucho, pero bueno, se nota un objetivo importante. Vestir la camiseta de la selección española en casa es algo que no se puede hacer todos los años.
Sí, la verdad que lo tengo ya escrito en el calendario. De hecho, viniendo para acá lo comentaba que el año que viene prepararemos a conciencia la pista cubierta, porque ese europeo de Valencia es importante para la selección española. Sí.
Bueno, Marta, pues nada, visualizar cosas bonitas en esta pista, y nosotros te veremos en el meeting de Madrid el viernes sábado que viene, que corres el 1500 allí. A ver qué tal, esperemos que vaya bien ese debut en pista cubierta.
Sí, ahí nos estrenamos, a ver qué tal.
Muchas gracias, Marta, para vosotros la conexión, compañeros.
Great to hear from Marta Garcia there, and I think is the national record holder over 5,000, I think over 3,000 as well. And a sub-4 1,500 metre runner. Very good person to hear from over the top of domestic 3,000 metres. A good choice there by the local organisers. And these men are moving well here. It was 2:05 through the first 800 metres. So well on pace for sub-8. And this is our first kilometre here. And that was reached in 2:37. Under pace, faster than was requested. Ruiz doing a really good job here. I think responding to the field as well, you can see the athletes are really up for this. They are in single file, but as a group here going with this ambitious pace. This is Victor Ruiz doing a really good job here, just keeping the pace moving. Perhaps slowing ever so slightly. You can see the group just starting to bunch back. Ruiz has been untroubled here at the front. The other athletes seem to be content to let him set this pace. When they go halfway through this lap on the back straight here, that will be halfway, and that'll be 1,500 metres. That gives us a nice look at how these athletes are moving. Okay, 3:55 through halfway for these athletes. That would be 7:50 pace. That'll be a personal best for everyone in this field. Not sure whether Jaime Guerra is local, but he's getting a lot of camera time here in Valencia. Winner of the men's long jump. Taking a trophy and a prize there. So we're hoping for another lap here out of Victor Ruiz. He's looking over his shoulder. He's looking good here, Victor Ruiz. He's going faster than was asked for. Okay, we're looking for one more lap after this. He's just squeezing, just trying to make sure he keeps himself on pace. 6 laps left for the race. Firmly broken the back of this middle kilometre. 3,000 metre running. You've just got to hold your nerve at this point. Before you know it, it will just be 600 metres to go. But at the moment, these men are thinking, really, we've still got over a kilometre to go. Here we go. Victor Ruiz was asked for 5:16. And he's done an absolutely brilliant job here this evening. 5:16.7. And he's staying in. He's looking over his shoulder. He'll definitely be helping these men, even though there is a gap there. 2, 3, 4, 5 metres. He's giving them something to focus on. There's Alejandro Quillada. I thought had withdrawn. He's right there. 23 gold medalist over steeplechase a few years ago. World University Games silver. He's just coming under pressure here, though. Quillada. Perhaps he'll be glad of that, Quillada, because he's been leading that chase pack for quite some time. Well under pace through 2 kilometres. Well under pace to go under 8 minutes. It could be Alejandro Perez. Perhaps in the lead here. Apologies. Struggling to make out his bib. Quijada just starting to labour slightly here, the steeplechaser. Not too far to go here. It's Alex Vives. Perhaps who had his personal best of 7:57 2 weeks ago, so he's got 400 metres to go. He was through in about 6:52 there. He's absolutely going for it here, Alex Vives. It's going to be very close to that 7:57 personal best. Quijada, 8:13 steeplechase, so it should be able to go way under 8 minutes. Vives at the moment is going to take the bell with quite a distance over himself and the European Under-23 steeplechase champion at European level. There goes Alex Vives. Piling it on down the back straight. 7:57, his new lifetime best from a couple of weeks ago. Looks like he's recovered well. Can he go even faster here today? Vives moving well, being cheered on here by this crowd. I think he's going to smash that lifetime best that's only 2 weeks old. He is 7:51.9. Quijada, apologies, will be under 8 minutes as well. Third place athlete will as well. Lovely racing here. A good win for Alex Vives in the Memorial Tony Lastra 3,000 metres. There he is, 7:51.9. Quick recap here. You'll see plenty of it to Ruiz, the fantastic pacemaker. Alejandro Quijada, steeplechaser. We gave it a good go in that middle kilometre, but in the end, Alex Vives having a great last 600 metres to lower his personal best by 6 seconds. Everyone just taking a look at themselves on the big screen, enjoying the action here. It's a great 3,000 metre race there for the domestic athletes, showing the tactics and everything that's required to execute a good 3,000 metres. And it's time to turn our attention back to the middle of the arena. We've got 2 heats of the men's 60 metres. Again, not rounds into a final B followed by a final A. A final A should feature Ando Guerrea, the European Under-20 champion. Just panicking here, just checking over my start list. He might not be there, unfortunately. Let's look back at that final from the 3,000 metres. Alex Vives, 7:51.6. Great lifetime best for him. Brilliant depth there. Top 10, all under 8:30. First look at the triple jump. The Wameva, lifetime best 13:28, stepping up. The 19-year-old made the final at the European Under-20 Championships last year. early lead for Maria Gonzalez. It's 12.81. Foul from the Romanian Dospin. Leads us to Romeva jumping third in the women's competition. Not quite right there from Romeva, so that'll be a foul as well. See, might be a few empty lanes over there for the final B of the men's 60. Should be our full start list. Rodriguez going in lane 1. Hasn't appeared anywhere on my start list so far. He is out there on the track, that's brilliant. Mark Crespo goes into Ruben Garcia in 3. Jose Miguel in 4. Alberto Ortiz in 5. And then I think we're missing Pastor Delgado in 6 and 7. And takes us to Cesar Jerez in lane 8. So final A coming up straight after this. Remember, it's not a semi-final, it is just 2 separate finals. The athletes take a moment to compose themselves. As the 18-year-old on his season opener, hopping around. Jose Miguel in his season opener as well. Amero, apologies, choosing that surname on his bib. There he is. So they are, starting with David Rodriguez on the inside, but we're taking in this triple jump from Carrascal, opening up round 2 in the men's triple jump. I did mention that recent 60-metre personal best for Carrascal. Speed always useful in the horizontal jumps. Take a bit of time to figure it out, to transfer it onto the runway. It was a foul in the first round for Carrascal. So settle into the blocks here for the men's 60 metres. Final B, Rodriguez, Crespo, Garcia, Amero, Ortiz. And then lane 6 and 7 empty takes us to Jerez out in lane 8. Very even in lanes 1, 2 and 3. They're really charging for the line here. Not much to choose between them, but it's going to be a win for Ruben Garcia. 6.95. I think if that's confirmed, I think that will be a lifetime best for Garcia. High fives all round. Nearly a PB for Garcia. The entry list has got his old PB because he did break his PB here a couple of weeks ago, 6.93, Ruben Garcia. So this track's been kind to him. Thiago Pereira, second man to jump here in the men's triple jump. mentioned Carrascal's 60-metre PB. This guy's done this long jump PB, so in good form. Foul for Pereira as well, so the men just struggling to find the board here. 2 fouls so far. Women doing better though. Maria Gonzalez, 12.81 leading the way from Sere Ecosa, 12.59. One heat out the way, next heat in this men's 60 metres, just tinkering with their blocks. Alberto Carrero in lane 5, coming all the way down to the finish, nearly running 60 metres as part of his warm-up. Enrico Montanari of Italy. Valid mark would be enough to give the Italian the lead here in the opening round after those fouls from Carrascal and Pereira. It's the fourth and final triple jump athlete before the A final at the men's 60 metres. It's Federico Bruno. It's 15.53 for his Italian teammate Montanari just then to take the lead, but here goes Bruno in his opening jump. Oh, and that's, I think, quite clearly the best jump we've seen so far in this men's triple jump. He's been given the green flag. Bruni just skipped across his hop, step and jump. European under-23 bronze medalist last year, showing his class in the men's triple jump. There's confirmation of the final B results. Ruben Garcia equaling his lifetime best he set here a couple of weeks ago, 6.93. Jose Amero, 6.99. Mark Crespo, 7 seconds exactly. Now your top 3 from final B. Now it's time for final A. These races will be seeded based on season's best, lifetime's best, to, in theory, give us the fastest race here, second. Looks like no Sebastia Pons in 1. The DNS there confirmed. Ricardo Sanchez goes into Mont in 3. Sergio Lopez in 4. Alberto Carrero in 5. David Hammond in 6. Fernando Duran in 7. And Ramon Perez in 8. As a winner of the men's 3,000 metres, Alex Vives taking his trophy and a new lifetime best of 7.51 to win that race. Scrappy there from Romeva. It's Romeva here in the women's triple jump. Ready for the men's final A, 60 metres. Ricardo Sanchez looking, he's very ready, crossing his arms there in lane 2. Empty lane 1 alongside him. Mon goes in 3, Lopez in 4, Carrero in 5, Hammond in 6, Duran in 7. And Perez completes the lineup in lane 8. The marker set down in that first round, 6.93 by Ruben Garcia. Into the blocks for the men's 60-metre A final. On paper, the fastest in the middle of the fields. Mon Lopez Carrero, perhaps Dowie Hammond, the Welshman, in lane 6. Very even start, bit of a fly from Ricardo Sanchez in 2, but now the race gets underway and it's Sergio Lopez in the middle of the field. Age group relay medalist for Spain through the years and all those European Championships, former national under-20 record holder, made the semi-final at the World Indoor Championships back in Glasgow in 2024, but Sergio Lopez there, 6.73. Calm under pressure in the first half and then just brilliant turn of pace in the second half.
Paco Borao, bienvenido aquí. Bueno, no te tengo que dar la bienvenida porque esto es como si fuera tu casa. Has entregado el premio de Memorial Tony Lastra. Este año el Maratón de Valencia es mucho más implicado en este meeting y también de cara al futuro, ¿no?
Bueno, estamos más implicados porque, como bien dice el título de nuestra prueba, Maratón Valencia, Trinidad Alfonso Zuri, pero el Maratón Valencia, todo aquello que sucede en Valencia nos concierne, sea por bien o sea por mal. Desgraciadamente la Dana tuvo el efecto tan negativo que tuvo y nosotros hemos contribuido todo nuestro posible a favorecer o compensar de alguna manera ese tema a las víctimas de la Dana. Entonces, este Gran Premio es también, en teoría, nuestro en el sentido de que la Sociedad Deportiva Correcaminos es una sociedad sin ánimo de lucro, con lo cual nosotros los beneficios no son beneficios.
Los beneficios hay que usarlos.
Y entonces, una de las mejores pruebas también donde podíamos contribuir a ensalzar y a mejorar y a ayudar a la federación correspondiente era la Federación de Atletismo, en una prueba que tiene el concepto global de atletismo del Gran Premio de la Comunidad Valenciana, y yo creo que ahí pues ha sido una oportunidad perfecta para identificarnos si hacía falta aún más con la Comunidad Valenciana.
Muy bien, Paco, pues muchas gracias de parte de todos los amantes del atletismo. Nos vemos aquí el año que viene, que encima luego tendremos europeo.
Encantado de hacerlo. Vale.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias a vosotros.
Great to hear some of the reflections on the men's 3,000 metres that took place just a few events ago. It's won by Alexis Vives in a new lifetime best. And then we had those 2 national 60-metre heats. And next up is the men's 800 metres. We've got a series of endurance races here, some real big hitters. And this is the start of that. They've been asked for a wonderful pace. I'll just introduce the athletes. Here is a Bahanu Ayanza, or General Ayanza, as the entries suggest. Simon Barentini of Italy is out next, a former European under-23 champion, Olympic Games semi-finalist. Jose Ignacio of Spain is a former national under-18 record holder, 145 last year. Pedro Osorio is out next. He PB'd for the first time in 4 years last year, 145.5 for him. This is Pablo Sanchez Valadera of Spain. Bronze at the European Under-23 Championships behind Maciej Polkowski. There he is, there's the pole. Come for a rematch against Sanchez Valadera. Ivan Peliza of Switzerland out next. 144.5 last season for him, and 5th at the World University Games. That's Pablo Dreis skipping out, our pacemaker. He's been asked to go through 500 metres in 64 seconds. That is rapid. 51-second lap and then hanging on. We'll see what will happen in this field. There's the results of the final A of the men's 60 metres. Sergio Lopez, 6.72 ahead of Alberto Carrero and Ramon Perez. So good running from those men. Bettering the mark from the B heat. Ruben Garcia's 6.93. Just slot him in there behind Dowie Hammond. So good seeding for the event organisers here. So a bit of pause on the action there on the inside, on the 8 lanes, as we go to this 800 metres on the outside. We will be back shortly for the women's 60 metre final. Shahel Bestouy do her best to put on a show for the crowd here in Valencia. She's on 7.18 so far this season, Bestouy. The likes of Patricia van der Beken on 7.14, Dina Asher-Smith on 7.08, all to fight for Bestouy. But first, we focus on 4 laps of the track. And this men's 800 metres, they're just doing their final few warm-up strides around the outside. This year, World Athletics have decided that the full first lap, should be run in lanes. Have these men do it, so they'll be on a slightly different start line than they're used to. Normally they break down the back straight, and it is very, very congested in the indoor 800. It does make sense to have them stay in their lanes all the way around. I think it allows slightly larger fields as well. There was a push to having smaller and smaller fields, particularly in those major championship finals. They were having just 6 people at the World and the European Championships. I wonder if they'll go back up to 8 if they're keeping them in lanes for a full lap. Maybe not. They might leave it at 6, but we shall see. Simon Barantini looking confident. But Ayansa, the Ethiopian, who was first through the gates, he is a former World Junior Champion back in 2024. And then a 1:44.6 last season. But I think Ayansa here in his first ever indoor race. And there's so much to take in when you come to the indoor circuit. Never mind the travel, the other side of the world, everything that comes with that. But competing on an indoor track for the first time is different. Stress shares lane 6 with Ivan Peliza. Bukowski goes in 5 on his own, the Polish athlete. Sanchez Valadares gets his own lane as well in lane 4. Ignacio and Osorio share lane 3. Barantini of Italy in 2. And Ayansa of Ethiopia in lane 1. This is the men's 800 metres. Off they go in the men's 800 metres now. Let's see if this pace materialises. Pablo Dress on the outside. He is managing to stay ahead of everyone at the moment. And that's Bukowski. He's a wonderful pacemaker himself. He pacemakes a lot on the circuit. And a good runner himself. And there they go. That's the point where the athletes can break. And Ayansa of Ethiopia is an absolute flyer through the first 400 metres here. Under 25 seconds. And the pacemaker, Dries, is doing everything he can to get past the Ethiopian. And Bukowski sticking with the Ethiopian and the pacemaker at the moment. The Polish athlete, I think he's watching here for the danger perhaps of Ayansa slowing slightly. The world indoor qualifying mark, 1:45.9. That'd be the target for the men here in this field. It's swift through the first 400 metres, 51 seconds. Pablo Dries is in control of this field at the moment. He's drifting wide down the back straight. Bahano Ayansa, the World Junior Champion from Lima 2024, takes it with 300 metres to go. Ayansa is going to be under all sorts of pressure here from Bukowski. Peliza of Switzerland just behind him. No sign of Valentini at the moment. The Italian struggling somewhat at the back. Bit of pushing and shoving in the pack. But it's still Ayansa of Ethiopia in the lead. Ivan Peliza trying to get up the field. He's there in 3rd place in the grey vest. But he's going to have to settle here as they take the final bend. Bahano Ayansa of Ethiopia looking very, very strong. The World Junior Champion coming of age here in Valencia. So a wonderful run from the Ethiopian. He's going to win the race. 1:46.9. Controlled that from the front. Ayanza, I mentioned, I don't think he's all that experienced in indoors, but he is now. A great win for Bahanu Ayanza. First lap around about 51 seconds. Ayanza, he really was there to be overtaken if any of the men could muster it. We'll have a look back here at the replay. Lane 1, Ayanza. Such a fast first lap. I wonder perhaps if that shocked the likes of Polkowski or Sanchez Valderez. That's a wonderful feeling. Cutting the tape, crossing the line first. See where Ayanza heads next, see where that confidence takes him. Going to introduce the finalists for the women's 60 metres. Lucia Potnik is out first. From the Slovak Republic, due to be in lane 2, I think. Perhaps she's been reshuffled into lane 1. Noriam Nori Vargas of Venezuela has a pair of South American Championship bronzes from a few years ago. Samira Kirabru, in what I think is her first competition in Europe, qualified at 7:37. Jaya Perica Guevara of Venezuela next through. South American silver medalist from a few years ago. Maria Montt. Other athletes medalled at those South American Championships. Martinez out next. Long jump and 100 metres for her at last year's European Under-20s. And the final athlete to be presented to the crowd, Jael Bestui, semi-finalist at the World Championships and part of an important part of the Spanish 4x1 squad. They built real regularity in making major championship finals, and they were 5th in Tokyo, setting national records every year. Jael Bestui actually set her own national record at European Team Championships in Madrid when Spain hosted it, when she won the 200 metres. It's a bit of speed work for Bestui when she comes to the indoor circuit. Well, not the circuit, the straight.
La libre ha tenido que forzar un poco de más, no sé a cuánto va a pasar ni nada, ha sido un poco una carrera un poco confusa, ¿no? Y bueno, tenía que haber salido antes, tenía que haber arrancado antes, estoy muy entero, pero claro, la marca
te deja frío, ¿no?
Bastante frío, sí.
Bueno, tenemos semana que viene el 1000, ¿no? De Madrid.
Pues lo veremos.
Lo veremos, vale.
Veremos, sí. Sí, porque realmente ahora hacer un 1000...
Ya, no tienes que buscar una marca, ¿no?
A no ser que Moja quiera pasar en 1.45 y me pegue yo detrás y luego ande, no sé, ya veremos.
Vale, bueno Pablo, pues nada, que te quites este mal sabor de boca que te ha dejado en la carrera. Las sensaciones que has tenido han sido decentes, ¿no?
Sí, sí, ha sido muy bueno. Iba andando todo el rato, lo que pasa es que aquí he dudado, se arrancaba ya, ¿no? Parece mentira, pero era de los pequeñitos de la carrera, sí. O sea, midiendo casi 1,90 era pequeño. Y pasar a esta gente encubierta es jodidísimo. Entonces, bueno, pues es lo que hay.
Venga, a seguir.
A Vilar.
Venga, Pablo.
Reflections on that 800 metres men's race from Pablo Sanchez Valderez. Probably saying 24 seconds for the first 200 metres didn't suit me. I'll try again in a few weeks. This is the presentation for the women's pole vault. The athletes have been given trophies and medals, and some of the athletes, I think perhaps in the international races, we've seen them being handed a box, and that's actually a special pillow. So whether athletes can pop that back in their bag if they've come internationally or not, we'll have to wait and see. But Bahanu Ayanza took the win in the men's 800 metres for Ethiopia, 1:46.41. A really dominant, impressive run from the youngster. Remember that name, Bahanu Ayanza. He's a world junior champion, and it takes an awful lot to lift that title. And it does put you in good stead when you would go on to a senior career. So no start here from Adriana Montalban of Spain. She was due in lane 1. But for this women's 60-metre final, we do have Lucia Potnik of the Slovak Republic, European finalist at the under-23 level. Nadia Nori Vargas of Venezuela will go in lane 3. South American medalist Samira Kidablu of the United States, the fastest on paper, 7:16, multiple-time NCA finalist. Alongside her, Jael Bastui, carrying the Spanish hopes, Andrea Purica of Venezuela will go in lane 6. Maria Montt of Chile in lane 7. And Laura Martinez of Spain completes the lineup in lane 8. The home crowd will be really rooting for Jael Bastui here. She goes up against Kidablu of the United States. The start so important in the 60 metres, and ever so here in the women's 60-metre final. And now, I was going to say, perhaps away too quickly. Was there a twitch from Montt or Parica? Something caught my eye in lane 6 or lane 7. I was looking to Kidablu and Bastui to get the best starts, but it didn't seem like it was them. And with that recall, was it too quick from someone? Not much to choose between the athletes there. We did see a green card handed out in the women's 60 hurdles earlier, so maybe the officials will be kind. Tiago Pereira on the runway for Portugal. There's the officials having a look. Here we go, the slow motion replay. I've got my eye on lane 7. Oh, Bastui there. There's a move. There is a twitch from Jael Bastui, the Spaniard in the middle. Let's see what the officials have got to make of this. So a warning, just a warning here to lane 7. There's Maria Ignacia Montt of Chile. Oh, nope, disqualification, apologies. I was not looking at the card correctly there. I was so shocked that it had gone to lane 7. Montt just asking to go and have a look at that herself. As we look at the current leader in the men's triple jump, Federico Bruno. Best of 16:31 last year. And he was very close to 16 metres in his opening competition of this year. And he's around about there again today in Valencia. So we have got an empty lane 7 here. Maria Ignacia Montt of Chile has, well, she went off. She looked like she was going to challenge it, but she has accepted that disqualification. So we're down to 7 women here in the women's 60-metre final. 6. We had a non-starter from Montalban as well. So just Potnik of the Slovak Republic, Vargas of Venezuela, Kidablu of the United States, Bastui of Spain, Parica of Venezuela, and Martinez of Spain. Good start from Parica of Venezuela, and good running here from Vargas of Venezuela as well. But Bastui in front of the home crowd streaks across the line, 7:25. She gets the win after a disrupted start, in the end dominating this women's 60 metres here. Great start from Parica and from Vargas, the two Venezuelans flying out of the blocks, but Bastui calm under pressure. Opens up a gap ahead of herself and the two Venezuelans in the last 15 or 20 metres or so. Perhaps that 200-metre endurance that Bastui showed off at those European team championships back in the summer, coming out there towards the end of the race as well.
Estamos con Yael Bestoe. Bueno, esto ha sido visto y no visto. Se acaba la
Let's hear from Yael Bestoe, the winner of that
minuto y
women's
estás
60
aquí.
metres.
¿Qué tal?
Bien, a ver, sí que en la semifinal no he tenido muy buenas sensaciones en la salida, sobre todo. Pero bueno, ahora creo que quizá he salido un poco mejor y he corrido un poquito mejor.
¿Es difícil analizar las carreras con tan poco espacio de tiempo?
Sí, necesito ver la carrera, ver cómo he corrido. Sí que por estas carreras sí que estoy mucho mejor en la parte final. Entonces supongo que será así.
Vale, creo que ha sido 7.25, habías hecho 7.18, tenemos la mínima del Mundial, trabajo hecho. Entiendo que ahora, bueno, con menos presión de cara a ese Mundial de Polonia.
Sí, la verdad que sí. Ahora mi objetivo es seguir compitiendo, hacer muchos 60, que así es cuando sale el boom de hacer marca personal y romper la barrera de estos 7.18 que llevo haciendo como 4 años. Pero bueno, sí, ahora este es el objetivo.
¿Siguiente carrera?
En París, que haré el 60 y el 2.
Muy bien, pues nada, a doblar ahí, así que nada, te seguiremos y luego ya nos veremos en Polonia, por supuesto.
Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Yael.
So reflections there from Yael Bestoe on her win in 60 metres, and just sharing with the viewers where she might be heading next. And we will be heading for women's 3,000 metres next. And that's the next event on the track as we continue to wrap up this triple jump. Elda Romeva on 3 fouls. I think all the athletes will get 6 jumps here. There's only 4 of them. But Romeva, the youngster, the teenager, still just 19 years old. Bit of a tough baptism here for her. Let's hope that Elda Romeva can get the right side of the board here. Oh, I know that was close again, wasn't it? It is 4 fouls for Elda Romeva. Going to meet the women for the 3,000 metres. This is Alondra Negron, pacemaker from Puerto Rico. She's been asked to go through 2 kilometres in 5:50, which would give you 8:45 if they kept that going. Alice Chemtai of Kenya was 10th in Valencia over the 10,000 metres on the roads, 30:38 just a few weeks ago. Not much experience on the track though. Federica Zane of Italy out next, sub-9 once back in 2024. Maria Pia Fernandez of Uruguay out next, a national record holder over 1,500 metres. And Miko Maiori of Italy through the gates next. Federa Sambran of Argentina, South American indoor record here last year with 8:56. Lucia Rodriguez of Spain out next. The European Indoor Championship final a few years ago. Claudia Guterres was 38th at the World Junior Cross Country not too long ago in Tallahassee at the start of the month. That's Melissa Francassini of Italy. Beatrice Oliveira, very close to 9 minutes in her career so far. And Elia Saura, the final athlete to be introduced to the crowd. 4:13 over 1,500 metres last year. His hurdles getting set out, ready for Enrique Llopis and co. We have got a bit of endurance or middle distance action for you. This women's 3,000 metres, then a men's 1,500 metres, bit of a domestic dust up to Mariano Garcia, Adrian Ben, Carlos Sainz. And then a women's 800 metres where Laria Abarthabel of Spain will try and stamp her authority on that domestic field and assert herself as number 1 in Spain. There's the result of the men's 60 metre final A. Sergio Lopez, 6:72. Lots of debate, lots of chat about what's going on here. Okay, so we have got Maggiori there of Italy, who's 30th at the European Cross Country this year, 4:08 on the track. Ait Alibu is there as well, 4:12, new lifetime best indoors the other day. So it is, I think, Pia Fernandez, the Uruguayan, who's missing, unless she's hiding in the field there. So Chemtai, unknown quantity on the track. She had a 15:17 in Lyon the other day. I think perhaps that was the race where Sarah Madeleine ran a French national record low in the 15 minutes. But Chemtai, maybe if she can handle herself, give herself a 15:17 on an indoor track, she's got a shot at well under 9 minutes today. The world indoor qualifying mark, 8:35 for this event. That's pretty tough. We'd already seen an 8:26, I think, is still the world lead from El St. Pierre at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix the other day. And this is a bronze level meet on the World Athletics Tour. So decent prize money, plenty of ranking points, and the opportunity at those qualifying marks available today. Twitch on the start line from the women's 3,000 metres, as there was in that women's 60 metres, but it doesn't matter so much here. Just letting the race get underway. Gran straight to the front. So 70 seconds exactly would give you the 8:45 that they're aiming for. Apologies, 70 seconds, of course, for 400 metres. We are on the short track, we are indoors. That's 35 seconds per circuit. Pretty good for Negron. $15 laps in total for these women. We had a domestic 1,500 metres earlier that went through the first 300 metres, almost exactly the same. So really showing the level here we've got for this international field. So perhaps only a second under pace through the first lap. Negron diligently checking her watch. Chemtai looking comfortable. It's an athlete between the pacemaker and Chemtai. So moving well. There's Alibu of Spain. Pick her out as an athlete that ran 4:12 last week. She's done 4:09 outdoors, over both of those over 1,500 metres, of course, but that's good leg speed. She ran 4:12 last week. Doesn't feel nice and slow for Alibu. That's 800 metres done for this 3,000 metre race, coming through bang on 2:20. I've got a 69.71. Nice running here, not much change in the leaders. Alondra Negron has been asked to go 2 kilometres. She's moving well at the moment, the Puerto Rican. It's a tough ask just to keep ticking off these 70-second laps. And I thought there could be a gap opening up, perhaps, between these first 5 and one of the other athletes, but the gap has been maintained. Perhaps that athlete just likes to run a little bit further behind, give themselves space. 2:56 through the first kilometre. Underneath 8:50 pace. You can see a slight injection of pace here, perhaps from Negron, realising that just slightly over the pace that it's been asked for. Alibu looking comfortable at the moment, as is Chemtai. Maggiore of Italy, he tucked in 3rd place out of the races, 4th overall down on the track. We have lost the stadium, the graphic clock here. It is stuck on 1 kilometre. Try and catch a glimpse if you can see any of the clocks on the infield. Keep an eye on how these women are doing. Negron by Alibu. Negron just starting to grind out here ever so slightly. 2 or 3 laps more from the pacemaker. Italibu just tripping over the heels of Negron here. It's a bit of a sign perhaps for the pacemaker that she's holding them back. 4:27 through halfway, so they have slowed ever so slightly as we've gone through this second kilometre. Negron doing well, but just starting to falter. I think we could see Negron drift wide here, invite Alibu to take the lead. Alibu doesn't seem to want it, actually. We just cut to Jael Bestui being presented with that box, which I have now identified as a pillow, maybe perhaps a special memory foam type pillow, but Jael Bestui looks delighted, whatever it is. So the pacemaker has gone. Naima Alibu of Spain has taken up the lead. So it'll be 6 laps to go this time. One more lap will give us 2 kilometres. It's pretty easy maths for a sub-9. Underneath, 6 minutes with a K to go. Romeva, 5th jump. She's on 4 consecutive fouls, remember. It's not come up as a foul yet for me for Romeva, and it seems to take longer to register a valid jump than a foul, so let's hope that the 19-year-old's got a mark in. Alibu getting challenged here by Chemtai. That's 2 kilometres, 5:58 through 2K, and Alice Chemtai, clearly talented, that 30:38 on the roads. Not experienced on the track though. I think that's a smart run from the Kenyan. Wait till a kilometre to go. That's much easier to quantify. Good response here from Alibu. Majori of Italy. It is the Italian responded to Chemtai as well. Battle on there. I think it's Lucia Rodriguez. It's well under 9 minutes, 8:53. European indoor final in Turin back in 2021, the same arena we'll go to for those World Indoor Championships. Rodriguez fighting hard to keep this group of 3 as a group of 4. Nicole Majori, for the first time, strikes for home. So Majori just trying to lift. I'm loving the grit shown here from Alibu of Spain, who led for a few laps there, has been working hard. 3 laps to go. That's a welcome sight in the 3,000 metres. Just 600 metres to go. Nicole Majori, 4:08 last year on the track. I mentioned the 30th at the European Cross Country this year. That circuit in Lagoa in Portugal couldn't be any different than an indoor track. It was so hilly, so twisty, so turny. This indoor track is going to feel simple for Majori in comparison. Alice Chemtai, as the Kenyan got the change of pace. We know she's good over 10K and 5K. A bit shorter, a bit sharper here. Nicole Majori goes through with 400 metres to go, 7:44 or so. Could be well under 9 minutes here for Nicole Majori. I don't think Majori's been under 9 minutes, certainly not indoors in her career, but Nicole Majori at the moment, she just takes a bit of a look over her shoulder. It will be the bell this time for the Italian. Nicole Majori, I think sometimes you take a look back like that and you've got such a big gap. It tells you can take a risk, you can push, because even if you falter, you'll probably be all right. Nicole Majori down the back straight for the final time. Surge in here from Naima Alibu, trying to catch Alice Chemtai. That's the battle for 2nd and 3rd. Nicole Majori this time will see the finish line. She doesn't look behind, just drives. She'll see the clock ticking towards 9 minutes, but it's going to be way under for Nicole Majori of Italy. 8:51. Alice Chemtai holds on for 2nd place. Naima Alibu for 3rd. So Lucia Rodriguez just faltered ever so slightly in the final 800 or so, but held on for 4th place. Nicely judged race for Nicole Majori. 8:51. And a really good tactical race as well. I really enjoyed the injection of pace there, the sustained push for home for Majori over the last 600 metres. Dicey off the line here in the women's 3,000 metres. Nicole Majori, you can see that, got herself in a good position off the line, and then throughout the race was always very switched on with Alibu and Chemtai tucked in behind the pacemaker, but it was this woman, Nicole Majori, who just bided her time. And perhaps closing like that, such a strong last 600 metres, suggests there's a tiny bit more in the tank for Majori in her next race. Just 3 events left here in Valencia. Next up is the men's 1,500 metres. Bragging rights galore for these men. I'm loving the commitment from the Spanish men at the moment to turn themselves into athletes that compete over 800 and 1,500. We see often other nations really focus in on either being an 800 or a 1,500 metre runner. There's Claudia Gutierrez holding some sort of board here. I just wonder if the under-20 might have done something special here. Could be a Spanish under-20 national record. That would be my guess for Gutierrez. She's a brilliant athlete, 38th, I mentioned that, at the World Junior Cross Country, 14th at the European Under-20 Cross Country, 4th at the European Under-20s in the summer, with the best of 4:14. Gutierrez, she's staring down the board. I'm wondering, is this real? Have I really done it? Suspense goes on there for Gutierrez. Okay, quick search for me. Cecilia Martinez has the existing national record at 9:14. So Gutierrez, to see. Let's have a quick look before we get stuck into these 100 metre men. See if we've got some live results. Gutierrez. Oh, she was 8:59. Claudia Gutierrez, a brilliant run for 4th place. She did take that national under-20 record. Congratulations to her. But let's have a moment for these 1,500 metre men as well. See now Javier Miron through the gate. This is Miguel Martinez. Mariano Garcia. Ooh, I thought we'd see Mariano Garcia next. They probably saved him for the end, haven't they? Jesse Foucault of Netherlands out next. Carlos Sainz saving him as well. Apologies. Let's have a go. Martin Segurora of Spain was through next. 3:37 a few weeks ago. Paul Oraik comes out next. European under-20 champion over steeplechase, but he's converted to 1,500 now, committed to that. Paul Meyer out next for Andorra, a 3:38 national indoor record at the CMCM meeting in Luxembourg a few days ago. Marina Blaudek of Croatia next, pretty much an 800 metre specialist. Go over 1,500 metres today. Ronaldo Olivo of Spain, 800 metre specialist as well, trying to up his game. Eric Guzman out next. 3:38 already this indoor season. Now they have saved the big names for last. First the pacemaker, and that's Alejandro Rodriguez. But here comes Mariano Garcia, the world indoor champion in 2022, the European champion that year as well, 8th at the World Indoor Championships last year over 1,500, and then down to 1:43 over his best distance over 800. Adrian Ben had a phenomenal career at 800 metres, 5th in Tokyo at the Olympics, 4th at the World Championships in Budapest, and a real push into the 1,500 for him. He made the final in Tokyo last summer. So no sign there for me of Carlos Sainz. Perhaps I missed him. He was all a bit frantic through the gates there. No sign of a DNS on the result system here. So we shall see. So confirmation there, as we were just introducing those men. It was a Spanish under-20 3,000 metre indoor record by 15 seconds for Claudia Gutierrez. An under 20 athlete going under 9 minutes is really special. So the World Indoor qualifying mark for this men's 1500 metres is 3:36, and you'd feel that is quite achievable for this field. So World Athletics, for those World Indoor Championships, they're going a bit old school for Turin. They set a qualifying mark and then they will just take the next fastest. They're not getting world rankings involved in the way that they compile those fields. Back to sort of the system we had before those world rankings came in. So it's a relatively short qualification window for the athletes to hit the qualifying time between the 1st of November 2025 and the 6th of March 2026. It does give them a couple of weeks to recover before we head to Turin for those World Indoor Championships. But still plenty of time to hit that mark, but it'd be pretty satisfying to tick it off here today in Valencia. The kind of nuance as well when you look at those World Indoor Championships is that it is just 2 athletes per nation. I mean, you've got a country like Spain that is just so full of talent, having to kick all their best 800 metre runners up to 1500 metres because they have too many in the shorter middle distance events as well. "12 men squeezed on to the indoor track, plus Alejandro Rodriguez, who's been asked to go through 1,000 metres in 2:23, and he is just jumping up on the outside. All Spanish affair, apart from Jesse Fulkenrud and Marino Bladek and Paul Moya. Perhaps a prequel to that Spanish National Championships that will take place here in a month's time. We're staying out of each other's way at the moment. There goes Marino Bladek. I mentioned he's a bit more of an 800 metre specialist. Many performances up to the semi-finals at Europeans and World Champs. Rarely run 1500 metres for the Croatian here, and you never know when an 800 metre runner steps up. Are they judging it right? 30 seconds through the first 200 metres here. They're not going too quick. The pacemakers bang on here, for my money. It's confusing here. We're not quite seeing the big names going with the pace here. Alejandro Rodriguez is running this perfectly. Bladek will be wondering where everyone else is. Adrian Ben is thinking this is fine, I'm not doing the work. Now what we can't quite tell here is we go through the first 400 metres in 57, that's the pacemaker, so the other athlete's more like 58. To keep the pace on here if they want to get touching distance to that 3:36 World Indoor qualifying mark. And then for the first time Mariano Garcia steps up in the field. Bladek still leading the racers, letting this gap open up to Rodriguez. Mariano Garcia, it was interesting to see him run 1500s in the indoor season. He didn't look totally comfortable with his tactics. It was quite interesting to see Garcia go back to 1:43 in the 800 metres outdoors. That strength in the 1500 metre work really paid off for the former world indoor champion. Through 800, 57 or so, Bladek has got to be thinking, where is everybody else? Why is the 800 metre guy leading the 1500 metres? There with 3 laps to go. Adrian Ben has been preparing for this race over in Dahlstrom and Potchefstroom in South Africa. Dahlstrom a bit higher. Athletes go there, train at around about 6,000 metres above sea level, and then drop down to Potch where it's a bit warmer, a bit lower, and they can finish off with a bit of faster stuff. We'll see whether Adrian Ben can finish this 1500 off with a bit of faster stuff. Bladek digging in. The Croatian trying to hold off Adrian Ben, but there goes Ben with 400 metres to go, and who is right behind him but Mariano Garcia. These men must have raced so many times domestically, internationally. Adrian Ben, he's moved there. A pretty committed move, but he hasn't dropped anybody here. Adrian Ben, very popular winner of the European indoor title in Istanbul back in 2023 after struggling with injuries. Blaudek's going again, trying to get past Mariano Garcia, but that pushes Garcia into the lead. Sometimes you've got to make a move to protect your position. Mariano Garcia, look at that for a change of pace. Garcia responded to the pressure from Blaudek on his shoulder, realised he had to go or he was going to get chewed up in the group. And in doing that, Garcia has made everybody else look ordinary here tonight in Valencia. Garcia kicking for home, looks right, looks left, can't resist a celebration, shuts it down over the line, but 3:37 for Garcia. Like sometimes if you go off somewhere else and you race, maybe in Europe, not against your domestic competition, you might just chill, you might just see it as a bit of a time trial, a bit of a free swing. If you're Spanish and you come to this meeting here in Valencia, it's going to be a prequel to those domestic championships as well. There's going to be bragging rights, there's going to be confidence to be gained and lost. Adrian Ben, unless he can claim he'd switched off ever so slightly, he's got to be intimidated by that change of pace from Garcia. Good Spanish win here today in Valencia for Garcia. Guerra take the long jump at the start of the programme. Jaya Bastui wins 60-metre hurdle, 60-metre flat. And that's the moment there for me, Mariano Garcia. I think if he'd wanted to kick into the bell, he might have gone earlier. He might have given himself a better position, but he's almost left with no option once Blaudek came up on his shoulder. 2 races left, women's 800 metres and then the men's 60-metre hurdles final. Just coming up on 9:20 local time. So it's 800 metres due off at 9:23, so the organisers doing very well to keep everything under control. They did have that false start in the women's 60 metres. Doing very well. The Bandabao. A top performer on paper here. But as with perhaps Adrian Ben and Mariano Garcia in that previous race, strong pressure here on the domestic athletes. The hurdles set out for Enrique Lopez and co. Just take a moment to wrap up the results of the women's 3,000 metres. Nicole Majori 8:51, Alice Chemtai 8:52, Alubo 8:53, and Claudia Gutierrez. Okay, there's been a change there on the results that I saw. Claudia Gutierrez right near that junior Spanish record. It is 9:14 high, so I think Gutierrez did only get it by a few tenths, which makes more sense why there was that suspense when she was holding that national record placard. Here we go with the women's 800 metres. Maria Frey of Sweden first out, 2:02 last year outdoors. She is a previous Swedish national indoor champion. Julia Jagusic of Poland. That was Lucia Juan Canton. Guzik here from Poland. And there's the pacemaker, Alston. He has to go through 500 metres in 73. Andrea Rodriguez. Daniela Garcia, former European under-23 champion back in 2023. Yocho Arroyo out next for Spain. Barthabal out next, 6-time national champion. 4 of those titles came indoors. She's been sub 2 outdoors. She's on 2 dead 56.
Mariano García, me preguntabas que qué marca has hecho, pero qué más da, 3:37:22, un victorión aquí impresionante, cambio final con muchísima rabia, supongo que muy contento, ¿no?
Sí, actualmente muy contento porque estoy probando el 1500 de una distancia nueva para mí, sobre todo que la correr pequeño, pero no mayor. Y hay que ya sabes correr carreras rápidas, carreras más tácticas, y yo ya he sido una prueba de esa que es de estilo de campeonato, así que es lo que necesito todavía para aprender.
Es verdad que habías hecho escarceos algunas veces en el 1500, pero ya llevas 2 seguidos, en Luxemburgo 3:35, ¿no? Aquí 3:36, 36, aquí 37. Bueno, estamos hablando de la nueva prueba de Mariano García.
Sí, para esta pista cubierta seguro. Para el verano no lo sabemos todavía, pero la pista cubierta vamos a ir con todo esto y esperemos estar en ese mundial que dentro de un mes y medio allí en Polonia.
Vale, y antes del mundial, ¿alguna carrera ahí por delante que tengas puesta a la mira?
Sí, la semana que viene el meeting de Madrid, que van allá por mi récord de España, si me lo quitan.
Es verdad, van a
por el récord del mundo, pero seguramente me quitan el récord de España y yo al menos estar defendiéndolo ahí en situ, y si no, hace marca personal.
Bueno, pues muy bien, Mariano, nos vemos en Madrid, enhorabuena por esta victoria y por la temporada que llevas, Majo.
Nos vemos, hasta luego.
All smiles for Mariano Garcia, as there should be, and a lovely win taken there in the men's 1500 metres as the tension builds towards this women's 800 metres. The athletes on the inside here. Julia Jagusic sharing with Lucia Juan Canton. There we go, the Polish athlete in the Nike strip. And Lucia Juan in Spanish club colours. Here we go. Alston on the outside, as I mentioned, being asked to go through 500 metres in 73 seconds. She's streaking away with it there on the outside. Andrea Rodriguez trying to go with her. Daniela Garcia, former, as I mentioned, the former European under-23 champion. Certainly one to watch. Yocho Arroyo, an interesting athlete as well. Former 400-metre runner, moved up to 800 metres very successfully. Perhaps a surprise winner of the Spanish outdoor title last year. Well under 30 seconds here for the first 200 metres. Alston flying through the first 300 metres here, 43 seconds or so for the pacemaker. For the first time she looks over her shoulder. Perhaps about realising they're drifting off the 2-minute pace, the magical 2-minute barrier. Pacemaker's doing good, 59 seconds here. Barthabal setting herself up, leading the rest of the athletes behind her. Guzik of Poland in second place. Go through 500 metres. The pacemaker did exactly what she was asked for. Barthabal, former Guzik. And there is Arroyo, mentioned the former 400-metre athlete, probably still getting to grips with the pacing. Slowed through 600 metres, just 1:33 for the leaders. Barthabal, she's put herself out here. She's got to just push Barthabal if she wants to take this win here. Yocho Arroyo looking dangerous as they go with 100 metres to go. Barthabal, she saved something here because there's athletes coming back into the race as every 20 or 30 metres goes by. Barthabal swings wide to protect an outside from Jagusic and leaves the inside open for Arroyo. Barthabal will relive that home straight over and over again. It was a natural move to step out to block the Polish woman, and in doing that, Yocho Arroyo, the patience shown by her, just to stick there on the inside and wait for her moment. In the end, there was plenty of space for Arroyo. Can't say she's slow.
Claudia Gutiérrez con muchísimo suspense, pero tenemos nuevo récord de España sub-20 de 3.000 metros. ¿Qué tal? ¿Contenta?
Pues me he encontrado muy bien y la verdad que no me lo esperaba. O sea, sé que estoy bien por arriba ya que vengo del cross, pero eso muy contenta.
Has tenido que hacer una carrera además muy peleada, ¿no? Porque has tenido que tirar ahí a ratos, ibas en un grupo con Elia Saura, si no me equivoco, así que bueno, también eso, bueno, como que tienes más en las piernas quizá.
Sí, yo creo que sí, que he acabado con bastante fuerza y no me he encontrado cansada del todo, entonces yo creo que podría pagar un poco más.
¿Y ahora que 1500 o nos vamos a quedar ahí en el 3000 para esta pista cubierta?
De momento en el Campeonato de España absoluto haré el 1500
vale.
Y en mi Campeonato de España no sé qué haré, pero bueno.
Bueno, pues muy bien, Claudia, aquí tenéis para todos vosotros la nueva plusmarquista española de 3000 metros en pista cubierta, categoría sub-20.
Sí.
Claudia Gutiérrez mentioned fourth place at the European Under-20 Championships last year, over 1,500, showing that she's wintering well. And as always with these events, when you're out on the tour here in Europe and you're looking at all these meets, you don't often know what you're watching until you wait for a few months, a few years, and you see how these athletes mature and develop. So Gutiérrez, another interesting athlete to watch. Just one race left here in Valencia. This has been the Gran Premio International de Atletismo meeting, a World Athletics bronze level meeting taking place in the Luis Porch Velodrome arena that will host the 2027 European Indoor Championships. Those events taking a year off this year. We had one last year in Apeldoorn. It was wonderful. The atmosphere from the host nation was great, and you think you would get exactly the same here in Spain. Kevin Sanchez is shuffling out of the gates there with the European Indoor Championship semi-finals last year. Mario Ravenga of Spain having a good season opener here, making the final. Niccolò Giacoloni of Italy, the reigning Italian indoor champion. Christos Untios of Greece will take lane 4. Daniel Cisneros of Spain will go in 6. Mikhail Starotsky of Poland will take lane 7. Former European under-23 silver medalist Javier Garcia will take lane 8. It was very close to 8 seconds a few weeks ago. Can he crack that today? But the main man, the main attraction perhaps here in Valencia for many of the fans, Enrique Llopis, jogs out of the gates. Silver at the European Championships. He was 4th at the Paris Olympics, 4th in Tokyo at the World Championships back in September. He's been so consistent in those global finals. You feel that some global medals are coming his way. He won't get that shot outdoors this year, but he will indoors. It is just 7 weeks until the World Indoor Championships in Torun in Poland. And Enrique Llopis will certainly believe he can make that podium. Be looking forward to seeing the post-event reports. Mariano Garcia, former world indoor champion over 800 metres. I wonder, there he goes with his bike pose. I wonder whether we'll see him in Torun, and if so, in what event. He's got to navigate very competitive Spanish trials first. But he's put a good marker down there with a dominant 1500 metre victory. And he'll sleep well on his pillow, which is his prize. There's the results of the women's triple jump. Alexina Dospin taking the win, 13.23 from Maria Gonzalez, 12.84. Rosella Egoza, 12.69, and Elda Romeva did get a mark on the board in the end, the 19-year-old finishing in 4th place. And there's the men, Federico Bruno, over 16 metres, 16.14, making a very competitive men's triple jump. And there's a look at the men's 1500 metre results. 3:37 the winning time for Garcia. It was the way he did it. It was very impressive. Martin Segoroda coming through for 2nd place. Adrian Ben having to settle for 3rd today. Marino Blaudek of Croatia, the 800 metre specialist, giving a good account of himself in 4th. As the confirmed result of the women's 800 metres, Nacho Arroyo 2:04.15, Aurea Abadabel 2:04.30. Yulia Yagushik 2:04.31, so very tight between second and third. But Abarthabal just drifting down the home straight. As I said, she will rue that. She will look at that, I'm sure. And what a battle it could be between Arroyo and Abarthabal as we go towards those Spanish national championships. Good running further down the field as well from Juan Contan, Garcia Tena, Rodriguez and Alliston did a great pace-making job. It was just interesting that the field didn't quite go with the pace that had been requested. Final few moments, preparation for this men's 60-metre hurdles final. They qualified about an hour and a half ago. Enrique Llopis was fastest in qualification with 7:56. And he looked, I don't know, definitely full send over the first three barriers at least. By the time he got to the line, he had shut it down ever so slightly. But to be within 8/100ths of his own national record in qualification is super impressive from Enrique Llopis. He often brings like a real high level of performance to any race that he does. I think there's an element of thought saying you've got your stride pattern, you've got to go full send when you get to the hurdles, else it all goes wrong. But I do think Llopis, for me, is a consummate professional, rarely turns up to a competition underprepared. So we shall see. Enrique Llopis already 7:56 in the opening round as he settles into his blocks here. He's joined by his training partner Kevin Sanchez in lane 1, Mario Ravenga in lane 2, Nicola Giacoloni in 3, Christoph Rumtusios of Greece in lane 4, Llopis centre stage in lane 5, Sineros in 6, Serodzki of Poland in 7 and Garcia, the final Spaniard, out in lane 8. Race, the first hurdle goes to Enrique Llopis. Good start from Ravenga in lane 2, but Llopis is away. Look how snappy he is over the hurdles. Llopis all the way to the line, slightly faster than his opening race. Perhaps 7:53 for Llopis. Looks perhaps slightly underwhelmed by that, Llopis. But these athletes, they try and test different things when they go in for those warm-up and warm-downs between the races. Jakub Szymanski, still the European lead with 7:48. Llopis, 7:50 that day in Luxembourg, so he's not quite as snappy as he was a couple of weeks ago, Llopis, but he looks absolutely brilliant. Was it him hitting that last hurdle? Look at this front on view. There's Llopis in red, the star of this field in lane 5. 1, 2, hit the second, hit the third, and hit the 5th. Okay, so a bit scrappy there from Llopis. And that might be why we got 7:55 instead of the 7:50 from a couple of weeks ago. But a win. And it's important to keep that momentum going as a professional athlete, and Llopis to take that win in front of a home crowd where he will come and try and win a Spanish title in 4 weeks, where he might come and win a European title in 12, 13 months' time. That European Indoor Championships coming here to Valencia. I think it's the 4th to the 6th of March 2027. So maybe book yourself some tickets, book yourself a flight. It's a lovely city. But for now, that does conclude the action here in Valencia. There's the confirmed results of the men's 60-metre hurdles. Enrique Llopis, 7:53. Daniel Cisneros, 7:73. Christos Rumtsios, 7:81. Michael Serodzki, 7:89. That was your top 4. Giacoloni, the only athlete not under 8 seconds here. Javier Garcia finally getting himself just underneath that mark with 7:99. Thank you anyone that's joined us here on the European Athletics stream. We have got so many meetings for you over the next few weeks. European Athletics are working very, very hard with lots of the race organisers just to try and show these meets across the continent and far and wide as we possibly can. There is wonderful athletics going on in Europe. We welcome some of the best athletes in this indoor season all the way through to those World Indoor Championships that take place in Poland at the end of March. So we hope you've enjoyed this evening and this coverage from Valencia. My name is Hannah England, and I'm sure you might hear me at a meeting soon, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.